with his passing, his no longer being here, I knew there was something that from what things I've witnessed about him, that I almost felt like an obligation to speak up on his behalf, as he left a void.
He was under so much stress, he had to get anesthetized every night.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
When Michael Jackson died, the world immediately began searching for answers. The investigation that followed led to the conviction of his personal physician for involuntary manslaughter, and for many people, that marked the conclusion of the case. Officially, the legal proceedings had come to an end. Yet for those who knew Michael personally, the conversation did not stop there. Many have continued reflecting on his final months, sharing their own memories and perspectives on the circumstances surrounding the last chapter of his life.
And I remember when he signed off that it was finalized that he would be doing the This Is It show in London. And when that started to format itself, that's what he said to me. He said, "Bill, now you're going to see the vultures coming."
Michael's bodyguard, Bill Whitfield, later recalled a conversation he had with Michael shortly before everything changed. At the time, it did not seem especially significant, but after the This Is It concerts were announced, those words took on a different meaning. Bill remembered watching Michael's world change almost overnight as the comeback became official. According to him, people who had been absent for years suddenly wanted to be part of Michael's life again. Everyone seemed eager to secure a place in what was expected to be one of the biggest events of his career. From Bill's perspective, the announcement quickly made Michael the center of attention once again, and he witnessed that dramatic shift firsthand.
Trusting anyone was difficult.
So a lot of the people showing him love now, there was nowhere to be found when he was alive.
No, by no means, none of them. I can't think of one, particular celebrity that showed sincere care and concern. Not saying that they didn't, they just didn't show it. I didn't see it.
I heard that.
But that was only one part of Michael's story that Bill reflected on. He also shared his perspective on why he believed Michael often became an easy target, how Michael's generosity toward children was interpreted by others, and the lasting impact the allegations had on his life and public image. According to Bill, those events changed the course of Michael's life, shaping the years that followed in ways that extended far beyond the courtroom.
And that, to my partner, Javon had let me know one day. He said, "Yo, man, I think the boss tried me." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Some dude came up to me. I was out with my girl and having dinner, and some dude came up to him and told him, 'Yo, I know you work for Michael Jackson. And if I can get a good shot of him and his kids, I'll give you $50,000. And Javon told him, like, "Yo, man, get up out of here." And we believe that Mr. Jackson had set that up.
Yeah, I heard he was.
As the conversation continues, Bill is asked about another subject that has sparked discussion for years. This time, the focus shifts away from Michael's personal life and toward the business empire he built. The discussion turns to the remarkable assets he owned, the value of his music catalog, and the influence he had as one of the most successful entertainers and businessmen in the industry.
His traveling was business reasons, meeting with different producers, different choreographers, certainly a lot of attorneys. He was still doing depositions for other legal matters that he had going on. So we did some traveling.
But behind the scenes, Bill says there was another reality the public rarely witnessed. He recalled the constant responsibility that came with protecting not only Michael, but also the people closest to him. According to Bill, security was never just about one person. It meant staying alert at all times, anticipating potential risks, and making sure Michael's family and those around him remained safe while living under an extraordinary level of public attention.
Several times, or even snuck him in and out of places by using certain different techniques. Certainly, the disguises he used, I know I put him in a all motorcycle outfit, helmet, jacket, pants, boots, gloves. And he walked down Las Vegas Boulevard, just looking at things and people and the entertainment out there.
The conversation then shifts to the day everything changed. Bill recalls where he was when the first reports began to circulate and describes the moment he realized the news was true. Looking back, he explains how everything around him seemed to come to a complete stop. As the reality of Michael's death set in, his memories reveal the profound impact the loss had on someone who had worked beside Michael every day and witnessed the chapter of his life firsthand.
But he liked that sneaky undercover movements. He liked that because we knew, had we just went the regular route, park in front of places and escort him, we knew it would be bad. We operated on a two-man team.
Bill was then asked to share his perspective on what may have contributed to Michael's death. Instead of pointing to a single factor, he reflected on the intense pressures Michael faced during the final months of his life. Bill also spoke about the many people and circumstances surrounding Michael at the time, explaining how, in his view, a combination of challenges shaped the difficult period leading up to the end of his life.
Insomnia. And just have had conversations with him. It's kind of started with the whole accusation thing.
Another person who saw Michael's life from a close perspective was his former bodyguard, Matt. He recalled the extensive security measures that surrounded Michael long before his final years. According to Matt, that level of protection was about far more than celebrity status. It reflected the constant challenges and potential risks that came with being one of the most recognizable and closely watched people in the world, making security an essential part of Michael's everyday life.
I think that's very well known now, in another room somewhere, because he felt like he needed the same privileges as a president. He could get assassinated, there were death threats.
Matt's memories extend far beyond security. He also recalled a deeply personal conversation that took place in the years following the release of Invincible. During that time, he remembered seeing Michael at one of the most difficult periods of his career, discouraged by the way the project had unfolded, and feeling that circumstances beyond his control were working against him. Matt described being there as Michael tried to understand everything happening around him, witnessing firsthand the growing pressure he was carrying away from the public eye.
Probably about 25, 26. So he had this theory. So Invincible did well in terms of a music artist's success. I think when it was released, I think it went straight to 5 million copies sold. But when you compare that to Michael Jackson's success, which is over 100 million with Thriller, it's not right. So me and him were in a hotel room, sure I think you're referring to, and he was very angry, like on the phone, talking to his people, screaming and shouting how he was going to sue for hundreds of millions of dollars, and that he wasted 5 years of his life, and he cried, and he would lock himself in his bathroom.
According to Matt, this went beyond disappointment over an album. Michael felt that years of work were not getting the support he believed they deserved. Looking back on that period, Matt saw it as one of the moments that revealed how much Michael was carrying behind the scenes.
It will be worldwide news. It will be terrible for your image. They will arrest you. They won't treat you like a normal person. You'll be in jail for hours. They'll charge you. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And when we got on the train, he said, "Thanks for stopping me, punch that guy." I don't know what I was thinking. But he was so mad. He was going to punch the guy. I mean, Michael was a strong guy. He had the Joe Jackson side of Michael Jackson, then he had the Catherine side, the Karen side. Where Michael wanted to be ruthless, he was ruthless. He wouldn't take no messing around. He would not take no messing around.
Matt then explains why that difficult period involved much more than a single album. He describes the financial pressure surrounding the project and the concerns Michael shared about what could happen if it failed to succeed.
Borrowed, I think it's about $200 million he borrowed off Sony Music. And to do that, when you go for a loan, you have to give up an asset. Probably the best way for your viewers, listeners to understand it, collateral. And his biggest asset he had to borrow that kind of money for his biggest album he wanted to make to beat Thriller, Invincible, was his music catalogue. So he gave that up, signed that as security, that if the album didn't work, then Sony would get the catalogue. So he thought, and the people around him said, "They've outsmarted you, Michael. They're not promoting your album on purpose, because if that album fails, they get a catalogue that's going to be worth over $1 billion. Beatles, Eminem, Beyonce songs, Elvis Presley, the Happy Birthday song, and go on, what he owned." And he would not let that go. So he went on stage. So that video I just posted on Instagram, Viewers can go and watch it. They go to official Matt Fidesz, you'll see. We're walking into this nightclub to surprise the fans at a Michael Jackson fan.
Matt continues by explaining how Michael's ownership of one of the music industry's most valuable catalogs remained a source of tension for years.